Hello, I'm Mystic Orange and this is video hashtag 662. In this video, I'll be reviewing and discussing a TV show called The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and let's get into this video. Anyway, I will put the playlist in the description. However, whoever made this playlist for the description did a bad job at, putting these videos in order. They put the first video at the bottom and the last one at the top. Good luck trying to have to watch that. Anyway, let's talk about the title of the show. It's called The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. I personally think this is a good title. It's probably one of the better title of Scooby-Doo. What you need to know about this show is it takes a completely different direction. About Scooby-Doo, it's mystery solving show. I think that's been established in previous iterations of Scooby-Doo. However, for this series, it's not a mystery solving show. However, it's more like a quest to catch, different ghosts from different places. So in terms of genre of the whole series, the whole franchise is a complete different direction. However, I don't mind it. As long as it works for the show, I think it's alright. And for me personally, it really works for the show. And I think the title, The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, is probably what I would consider one of the better titles. It's definitely creative and, it tells you what it is, like The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. Immediately I think something fun about this title. I think what viewers would like about any show is variety, and the fact that it's called The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, we are certain to know that there are different ghosts for the show, and I think, that will be fun. So this title, kind of gives good expectations for the show. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the animation of the show. And later I will talk about the theme song of the show because I think both of these things are related. But let's just start off with the animation and the art style. I think it needs to be said, from Scooby-Doo, Where Are You to the 13th Ghost of Scooby-Doo, the animation is completely consistent from each show. There's not much difference. However, I think this is the last show that will have this same consistent art style. And if I have to be frank about this art style, I do think it's rather cheap in quality. This is what I've been thinking about since Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And until this series. The quality isn't it when it comes to the art style, but it's understandable. This was the earliest of Hanna-Barbera shows. It's not just Scooby-Doo, it's most of shows Yogi Bear or Flintstones, the Jetsons. They all had the same art style. So really, I can't be mad at them for this because this is the standard, and it's still present to this series of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. The animation is kind of cheap. I think this is the last time we're ever gonna see this. Stay tuned for future Scooby-Doo shows that I'm gonna cover, because I think those will have much greater in quality, not only by the design but also the writing and everything else. I think it's going to be a lot more fun. I will have to group this set of Scooby-Doo shows as their own era. I don't know how anyone else defines these eras from Scooby-Doo, but I do define them myself. And I can't call them golden eras. And I do think people who have nostalgia for these kind of shows, It's just a nostalgia. I don't think people really like have good memories about the older shows. Like if you're watching shows like What's New Scooby Doo or Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated or Beaker Scooby Doo, I can't see you thinking like, oh, I miss watching the older shows because they weren't actually all that great. I know because have been covering each of every one of them throughout my time in this channel. So I don't understand the people who go like, oh, they feel nostalgia for like the older shows. I mean, I get the appeal. I think like Scooby Doo has that formula that we all like. But I think like the show gets better in quality in the newer shows. What do you guys think? Also, it's time to talk about the theme song. But really, the main thing that I want to talk about the intro is really the animation. How come the animation of the intro gets to look this good, but the actual show, is just as, poor quality as any other Scooby Doo shows? Like, look at these images and you see what I mean. This is probably the start of where like how Scooby Doo is like improving their art style. Like you can tell with the characters with the like shading in the drawings. I think shadows in characters, makes them look so much better. Okay, now it's time to do a full review on the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo. I think there's something needs to be said though. First of all, the plot of the series is different. Like I said before, Shaggy and Scooby are on a quest to capture all the 13 ghosts because they clumsily let them out in the first episode. However, they're not doing this alone. Scrappy is coming along, and so is Daphne. Just like how they were helping them in the new Scooby and Scrappy Doo show. And similarly, both Fred and Velma are absent in this series. However, for this series, we do get additional main characters. We have Reggie Van Gool, who is kind of like a sorcerer, and he kind of guides the gang throughout the mission to capture these spirits. He's kind of like the mature elder of the group. He always has to deal with the gang's stupidity, and I understand. And then you have a second main character called Flim Flam. He's kind of like a child, and he's a lot of fun as well. He kind of has a lot of charisma. He's like the stereotypical salesperson. He's a bit of a trickster, but he's a lot of fun in this group, and I like his addition along with Reggie Van Gool. I personally do like the addition because they do make the dynamic different. Like we all know that like Scooby and Shaggy make a good duo with each other. That's just given. However, when you have Flim Flam, he kind of pairs well with Scrappy Doo. I mean, Scrappy Doo is short and Flim Flam is short, and when they are paired together, they work really well. I think they make a fun dynamic duo. I also kind of like the dynamic between Shaggy and Daphne. They don't have a lot, but the interactions are fun. And I think I said this about my review from like the new Scooby and Scrappy Doo show. When you have Shaggy and Daphne together, you kind of have to ship them together. Like you would not think like Shaggy and Daphne would make a good pair because they kind of have different personalities. I bet someone like Daphne will see someone like Shaggy as like uncool, and she's kind of like an image conscious kind of personality. So I don't think like she would be like she wouldn't like being seen with Shaggy. That's the vibe I get from like Daphne. Also in this series, the designs are kind of different. I think Shaggy, Daphne, and the Mystery Machine definitely has like unique like outfit designs. Like Shaggy is not wearing like a green outfit like he usually does. He's kind of wearing like a salmon pink outfit, which I think is nice change of pace. And I like the way Daphne looks in her outfit. I like the outfit she chooses. It's a bit more casual, down to earth. They kind of do like look like they're like married couple or something, or like they look like couples. It feels a bit more like loungewear kind of outfit. And the mystery machine is different too, with being like reddish pink color. It's not the usual like green and blue color. These details aren't that big of a deal. I think they add a nice spice to the show. Altogether, though, like these six characters, make the show really fun. Um, Especially when they try to capture all the ghosts. That's also really fun as well. What I would have loved though, if Velma or Fred were included. I understand if they can't be included in this series because maybe it would not have been as great. Maybe in like futures, if they had like a series after this one, maybe Fred and um, Velma, they could have been included. I think that would be fun. It will be interesting to see how Fred and Velma interact with Flim Flam and Reggie Van Ghoul. But I also understand how that might be an issue because the cast might be a little bit bloated. What I was thinking, if they did like a series after this, maybe we can have like the main characters like Freddy, Velma, Daphne, Shaggy, and Scooby. They are being the main characters, but we can have these like other characters that from our past being like guest stars. I think like the new Scooby Doo movies, think like that. But like in the other series, we have like other characters like Scooby Doo or like Scrappy Doo, and then I think Scrappy Doo has like his friends in his series. I remember when it was like Scooby Doo and Scrappy Doo. I remember in that finale, it was mostly focused on him. So really, I would appreciate it like if they had like one season after this, like just focused on that. And it's a shame like we don't get to see some of these characters again. Like for example, I don't think we ever get to see Flim Flam or Reggie Van Ghoul in the like near future. I am aware that like Scrappy Doo does show up, but he shows up in a weird way in a Mystery Incorporated. But I think the gang react negatively about him because I think the fandom didn't like that the Scrappy Doo errors. I personally would not have minded if Scrappy Doo was included in like future seasons because I think it would be really fun. I know this might be really weird, but I think this series is probably one of the higher part of the Scooby Doo shows that I've watched throughout my channel. And I would have to say, like, this is like, it's not the best of the best. I think that title has to go to like the new Scooby Doo movies because all of the movies. But I think this one's like near, like, below that. I think what makes this fun is like the addition with Flim Flam, Reggie Van Ghoul, also the like the villains that kind of like the lackeys of these ghosts. I think they're called Boggle and Weird. I think they add a fun spin in the show as well. And also the fact that they're doing something different. They're not just like solving mysteries. They're kind of doing a different take, which I don't mind. Like if you're gonna do a different take, at least make it fun. And I think this is what this series has done. I'm just looking at their future now. There are like seasons that doesn't follow the like mystery solving shtick, but they go for a different direction. Like I'm remembering that one series where it's just like Scooby Doo and Shaggy, and I think they're just having villains in the series. I forgot what it's called, but I don't think it was one of the best series. And that kind of didn't do the whole mystery solving thing either. But what made that series kind of terrible is because they didn't do a fun spin on it. But I think this series has done that, which kind of like it really explains my full opinion on this series. And as for that, from all my points about the show, in conclusion, I would have to give this show 4 out of 5 stars. I know this was like a long winded explanation, but yeah, that's my take. Anyway, let us know in the comments what you thought about this series. Did you watch the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo? Did you think it was good? I personally think though, like this is probably the last of like the era of the old Scooby Doo shows from Hanna Barbera. I think after this, shows will like be significantly be better than this. Like I have been critical about this show. That's why it's a 4 out of 5 stars. However, shows like this will not be comparable to the shows after the series. So good luck when I, review the next series. I think it's called A Pup Named Scooby Doo, and I bet this is gonna be significantly be better than the shows I've covered. Anyway, stay tuned for that. So I guess my review is over. It's time to move on now and wrap this video up. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like, share and subscribe and have a lovely day.